Hello everyone and welcome to today's Starseed Healing Circle. So welcome to the end of the world as well. Today is that well-awaited or long-awaited solar eclipse. I don't really believe it's going to be the end of the world, but if it is, I'm so ready for it. So for today's session, I checked in what we needed to do, and we needed a reading with the Book of Doors. As you know, my favorite deck. I've had this one since 1994, so 30 years old. And still one of my favorite go-to decks. And it's overlaid on top of the remote healing chart, Bob. And with that, we are working with the Wands of Horus. So let's dive in, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to just see what is all of this solar eclipse about. If it is the end of the world, where are we going next? What's coming? What do we need to prepare for? What do we need to do for ourselves? And then balancing the energies within all of that. So let's tune in. So as today is a super new moon eclipse in Aries, we are using the supermoon Lightcode activation for today's session and connection and tune in. So perhaps close your eyes and just think about what it is that you would like to work with today. What would you like to receive? What would you like to let go of? What would you like to bring into your life? What would you like to heal? And once you've got that formulated, you know what you're focusing on, allow your eyes to open and gently rest upon the light code. Or perhaps trace it with your eyes like a labyrinth for the eyes. And just keep your goal and your focus in mind as you're tracing or resting your eyes. You can spend as much time here as you need. And you may spend as much time here as you need. Pause the recording if you need more time. Okay, so let's have a look at what we have for today. As I mentioned, I have the Book of Doors cards, and I've placed them on the remote healing chart. The 4 levels, that we have for the spread in the pyramid spread. The top level is the spirit, the middle level is the mental, the third one down is the emotional, and the base one or the bottom one is the physical. And so I've just placed that on the map. Of course, if you were here in person, I would not be able to place the cards on you. So I think it's actually quite nice that we can place the cards on the actual body so that we can do that connection. Let's have a look at the layout that we have, and then we analyze each of the cards. Now, what I do when I do these sessions, I don't analyze until I get here with you right now. So this is all happening live. We work with a die, an 8-sided die, so that we can get the cards, and I don't really look at what I've placed down, and I'm going to explore this with you now as we go ahead and look at the cards individually. Our first card is Serqet. So Serqet loosely translates to she who liberates the breath. So she is connected with the scorpion, and as you can see on the top of her head there is a scorpion. So the scorpion generally is associated with protection, and Serqet in general is associated with protection. So this also associates with sort of how we move with our breathing process. She's very strongly related to breath and breathing. So this is about the contraction and expansion of our lungs and our chest as we breathe. And as we do this, it creates a rhythmic flow and vital life force that moves through the body via the breath. When we're looking at the destructive aspect of Serqet, then we're looking at the venom, and we're looking at how that venom can, or the poison can actually hold us back from what it is that we need to work with. Serqet is also to some degree associated with sexuality. And so this is a female principle of sexuality. And just as I'm looking over all of the cards, I see there is another card referencing back to sex and sexuality. So there could be that that is something that we may need to look at. And so Serqet in general is associated with high magic, and it really is about, perhaps there's a not a warning, but a reminder that our sexual energies need to be used in a conscious way, in a loving way. And if you are in a relationship or a monogamous relationship, to keep that a monogamous relationship. If you are in an open relationship, to understand that when you share energies with other people, you bring those energies back into your relationship as well. So really, this is about consciousness. It's about focusing on your breath, being conscious of your breath, focusing on how you use your sexual energies. Our sexual energies are also creative energies. So how do you use your creativity? We then move on to the next level, and we have here Nut and Hetert. Now here we're looking at the mental level, so how energy was used in the past and how it's still affecting you. This is where we would have Nut, and then Hetert is our guiding, or our sort of future guidance. Now Nut is about creative energy as well. This is also about the polarity between Nu and Nut. Nu is the male and Nut is the female, and Nut represents the sky and sort of the formation of matter, so things that are unmanifest, perhaps your mind or your creative aspects, things that you are thinking about that have not been manifested yet. She's also seen as a protectress, so protective energies around, but there's also the creative quality here. This is looking at how we have worked with in the past, as I'd mentioned. So I think this is quite a positive card. It just shows that we are, or were, in a space of creative frequencies, creative energy. The only thing with Nut is that there is a separation aspect as well, because if you look at the stories, and again, as I'm looking at the rest of the layout that we have, we've got the Geb Nut Shu card coming up a little bit later. So there is an aspect of separation. Okay, and interesting, we've got Nefertum in between. Okay, sorry, I'm just, as I mentioned, I'm analyzing as we're going. Okay, so right, so on the mental level, there's definitely perhaps some separation between the mind and the body. This is how we used to be in the past, but there is a connection or a growth process happening between them that was in the past, but it was perhaps not seen. Coming from the past, we have to understand that we're coming from the vastness of the cosmos, and we are moving into perhaps a new vast space. Our future guidance is Hetert. Hetert means the house of Horus, or the house above. And she's also known as Hathor, so the goddess of love. And so here, this could indicate new beginnings, new directions, new movement, also a new space of joy and happiness that we're moving into. It's all about love and pleasure, singing, music, and things like that, all about beauty. The goddess Hathor used to be Serqet, which is the goddess of war, but Ra cut her head off and gave her a cow's head instead, and she became the goddess of peace and joy and harmony. So that does indicate some form of transformation, a movement from something chaotic and negative into a space of beauty, harmony, joy, and pleasure. So just from a mental perspective, that looks like it's all really positive. Also interesting, Nut is sometimes associated with the cow. So sometimes represented as a cow with the stars in the belly, and Hetert very strongly associated with the cow because, of course, she's got a cow's head. So the energy of the cow in general can also come in here into play, which ties in with the next level down where we've got Amsu. So just again, I'm making some connections as I'm going. Okay, so next what we have is we've got Nefertum as the past way that we have used our emotions and how those are still affecting us. In the center of the bridge, we have Tehuti, and for our future guidance for the emotional level, we've got Amsu. Nefertum really is it's basically the young or the young god, the young Tem. He is the child of Serqet and Ta. In some cases, they say that Nefertum is self-created. In other cases, they say that he is the child of Ta and Sechem. So Nefertum is really the young rising sun, or the sun god. He's rising up from the lotus. He's standing in the lotus and he's going through the transformation. He's transforming with time and also growing with time. He's part of the house of Ahut, same as Neptet, which is the house of fire. So what you see in the background there is the transformative energy of fire, but there is also an element here of air. With this card, it's really about realization of joy, perhaps a distillation of experiences. It could be about tapping into our inner child. So inner child work that we've done, or taking all of our experiences we've had in the past and distilling those down into a way that we can step into the future. Then the bridge card is Tehuti, Thoth. This is the god of wisdom and also magic and alchemy. So he's the god who's got all of the wisdom. Now, as this is the bridge card, this is where we are moving to. So we're stepping in from the Serqet angle and moving down into the Tehuti energy. With Tehuti, it's really about stepping into your own knowledge, your wisdom, your own inner power, and living your truth, being your truth, and being in this moment. As I'd mentioned, Tehuti is also associated with alchemy, so this is very strongly associated with transformation. So if we just look at the energy that we have on the emotional level, we're starting with Nefertum, going into Tehuti, and then into Amsu. It's almost like stepping in from the child into the wise one and into the virile, strong, masculine energy. And I'll get to Amsu in a moment. But yeah, I think with Tehuti, it's usually a call to step into the mystical, the magical, deep wisdom. It could be that we are called to meditate more, perhaps to write more, whether it's journaling or whether it is actually writing a book. Or it could also be about studying. So our direction of where we're going. It could also just be that the entire spread is about us stepping into that study and into that wisdom, into that knowledge, so that we can become greater and better beings. Then our future guidance here for the emotional level is Amsu, sometimes also known as Min, and he is the procreator. So he's another aspect of the god Amun. Amun is the hidden principle, everything that's hidden and unknown. Where on the flip side, Amsu brings what is hidden into the visible, into the visible. It brings the hidden into the known. So whatever was not seen before is coming to the surface. The tail and the feathers that he's got on his head, those are associated with rejuvenation. So this is perhaps showing us that we are moving into a new level, new beginning, new direction. If we look at the doorways behind him, the doorways are flipping between black and white and gold. And so that's also the portals or the guide or the gateways that we are moving through. It is also very, very strongly associated with creative power or creativity, the creative principle. And there is, as I mentioned, the sexual quality here, where it really is about working with sex and sexuality in a healthy way. The card in general, I think Amsu is also god of eternity, which ties in with the next card that's coming just underneath it. So we've got a lot of connections here within this. So I think if it's the end of the world today, then we're definitely stepping into a very new direction, new beginnings. And even if it's not the end of the world, this is a very positive spread. It's actually really showing us that we're moving into a very positive new direction. Then let's look at the physical level. The physical level, this is where we came from, the first card. That's the Gabe Nuchu. Happy is our sort of direction that we moved along to get to where we are right now. Anpu is where we are moving into. And then Hehu is our guidance. So when we look at the spread, everything off to the left is the past and everything off into the right is the future. Everything in the center is the now. So Gebner Chu is how we used to live on the physical level. Gebner Chu is all about separation. Gebner Nut, those are your sky and earth gods, and they loved each other so much that they were always on top of each other, and that didn't allow for space for anything else to be created. And so Shu, the god of air, is placed between the two of them to separate them. And that allowed for space for things to happen and to form, for life to form. So sometimes the reminder is that we sometimes need to love loosely or release a little bit so that we can actually get closer, if that makes sense. So in the past, it may be that you've been holding on too tight to something that no longer served, or you were so close that you couldn't see what was happening. But the next card is also happy, which is union. This is about bringing together the head and the heart. And so perhaps with that separation that we have, there is an opportunity to now bring these elements or the qualities together, bring the head and the heart together. Anpu is guiding us and bringing us into the new direction, into the new light. So the Anpu is the Anubis. He's the guide into the afterlife and after the afterworld, and he is also the great protector. So protecting us all the way as we are moving along. And then the final card here, Hehu, is the god of infinity or eternity. So this is also a very transformative energy associated with the salamander. He does have a frog head because he's one of the primordial gods, but the salamander quality is what we are looking at here. So it's almost like stepping into fire and water all at the same time. We've got the female principle in the background, the serpent coiling all the way around, and Hehu is standing on water, which is the creative principle. So again, water is featuring very, very strongly. The fire qualities featuring very strongly here. So this is a transformative time. It's a time for new beginnings. It's a time for stepping up and stepping into a new direction. I'm really excited about this new time. Let's have a look at the Wands of Horus cards that came onto the cards. On Serqet, we've got synchronicity. So this is looking at the synchronistic qualities, also about transformation. So the synchronicity card comes up when we're looking at transformation in general. On Nut, we have the Ib or the heart card, and you'll notice on her name, Nut, she's actually got the jars, 3 jars on top. Not quite the same jar as the Yap or Ib card or symbol, but it does remind me as I'm seeing these now that we are stepping into that heart space. And then Hetert has the Earth card. Well, normally when the Earth card comes up for me, it indicates a priority, so a main direction that we are moving into. This is where we're grounding into that joy, happiness, and pleasure and music and all of those beautiful things. On Nefertum, we've got the Union card, which is the same as Happy, that's just sitting underneath it. It's the same symbol, so same direction. So perhaps unifying that inner child. On Tehuti, we have the Ach card, which again, there's so many synchronicities here. The Ach card is the sacred ibis, and Tehuti, of course, has the ibis head. Ach is our immortal soul, or our spirit. And then on Amsu, we've got the Sahu, which is our spiritual body and our internal judge. And when we talk about judge here, it's not in a negative way. This is the judge when we leave our bodies. This is getting into a place where we can reassess what we've been doing, where we're coming from, and where we are going. So here, unifying the Ah with the Sahu, that is actually quite a beautiful layout here as well. So definitely, I would say new beginnings over here. Looking at the physical level, we've got for Gebnut Shu, we've actually got the air card. So again, it's referencing back to Shu, the air, the separation. And on Happy, we've got the water card. Happy is actually the god of the Nile, which is very strongly associated with water. So here we've got the water and the water echoing again. And then on Anpu, we have the divine feminine. So Anpu is usually associated very, very strongly with the masculine energy. And now we're bringing the feminine quality with that. So feminizing or softening that protective energy and the protective quality, and also the guiding principle, so that we perhaps step more into an intuitive space, let intuition be our guide. And then on Hehu, our infinity, eternity energy, we've got the clearing card. The clearing card is all about clearing, purifying, and transmuting the energies. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little bit of music while I'm doing some work. And what I suggest on your side is that you perhaps journal about your insights, or maybe just breathe slow and deep, focus on your breath as you soak up the energies. And then when we're done, I will just stop the music and I'll stop the video, and then you can come back in your own time and in your own space. And I'll see you on the other side.